Good, good morning, members of council and staff and members of the public. I'm going to ask that you join me in a moment of personal reflection, but before we do that, I do want to take a moment to recognize, and if you would keep them in their thoughts, former regional councillor Irv Harrell and Joseph Anello. Many of us refer to him as Gio, in your thoughts. Thank you. The region of Durham exists on lands that the Mississauga and Anishinaabeg inhabited for thousands of years prior to European colonization. These lands are the traditional and treaty territories of the nations covered under the Williams Treaty, including the Mississaugas of Scugog Island First Nation, Alderville First Nation, Hiawatha First Nation, Curve Lake First Nation, and the Chippewa nations of Georgina Island, Osale, and Rama. We honor and recognize and respect the Indigenous peoples as the rights holders and stewards of the lands and water on which we have the privilege to live on. In our efforts towards reconciliation, we continue to build and strengthen relationships with First Nations, as well as the large Métis communities and growing Inuit community here in Durham. We commit to learning from Indigenous values and knowledge, building opportunities for collaboration, and recognizing that we are all connected. Members of council, as I started the meeting this morning with some sad news. Many of you may have known former regional councillor Irv Harrell. Irv was born in Oshawa, and his life involved scouting, nature sports, played basketball, semi-pro football as a receiver, and was an avid skier. Through scouting, he met his beautiful farm girl, Kathleen, and they married in 1954. Irv and Kay bought a country lot on Harmony Road with the help of family and friends. They constructed the house where he and Kay would build a life for their family, and he would reside there for 60 years. Irv's career journey carried him through a home heating business with his father, General Motors, and then landing at St. Mary's Cement as a purchasing manager. He also became involved in local politics, winning a series of municipal elections over 15 years. Our thoughts go out to Irv's family. On a sad note as well, and I would like to take a moment to address the recent series of losses in our Works family has endured. The recent passing of Joseph Anello marked the third time we had to say goodbye to a valued member of our Works family within a short period of time. Each person was unique in their contributions and presence, and their passings have a profound effect on all of us. Joseph Anello, affectionately known as Gio, was an esteemed colleague and a friend to many of us. He had recently retired as Director of Waste Management Services. Gio joined the regional team in 2008, and from the beginning, Gio showed exceptional knowledge and leadership. His contributions to our waste management team were immense, particularly his role in the development of the operations of the Durham York Energy Center. But beyond his professional achievements, Gio was also a dedicated family man. He will be deeply missed, not only as a colleague, but as a friend to all who had the pleasure of knowing him. He leaves a remarkable legacy drawn from his distinguished career in the Canadian Forces and his many contributions to the region as testament to his character and integrity. Our thoughts go out and deepest sympathies to Gio and Irv's family during this difficult time. In memory of Gio, his family has asked that each one of us extend an act of kindness to another so that he can continue to make the world a better place as he did in life. Members of council, on that note, again, I know we had a moment of reflection, but could you please join me in standing for a moment of silence? Thank you. And now, just a couple other items. Uh, we've had some exceptional things happen in Durham Region in the last few days. So, at a ceremony taking place at 11 a.m. today, the Region of Durham will be awarded the 2023 Ontario Public Works Association Diversity, Equity and Inclusion Award. This award recognizing outstanding efforts and accomplishments in advancing DEI within public works. It was awarded to organizations that see workplace equality as more than just policies and practices, and it is something that runs throughout the very heart of what they do. The OPWA Committee of Judges assessed Durham Region's training, partnerships, public outreach, and the application of DEI principles in public work initiatives, such as the Indigenous Consultation Plan and the Central Duffin Trunk Sewer Extension Infrastructure Project. Under the leadership of Allison Hector Alexander, Director of Diversity, Equity and Inclusion in the CAO's office, and Mike Hubble, Director of Environmental Services in the Works Department, this award recognizes the great strides regional teams are making in fostering equity internally and within the delivery of public works services. To call upon everyone to show our appreciation to Allison and Mike and their teams for the passionate and dedication and engagement work. And I have some more exciting news to share with you. The Region Municipality Service Delivery Officials, MSDO, recognized the Service Durham team with the award for excellence in service delivery for demonstrating exceptional commitment to enhancing customer service and operational efficiency through their My Durham 311 program. Our CAO, Elaine Baxter-Traher, was also recognized by MSDO with an award for leadership advocating for equity and service delivery, directly reflecting her incredible leadership and significant impact. For those of you who don't know, MSDO is a nonprofit, volunteer-run organization made up of municipalities across Canada. MSDO honors members' contributions to innovation, transformation, and excellence in delivering municipal services. I'd like to congratulate the Service Durham team, our CAO Elaine, and all who were part of this remarkable achievement. These awards are yet another shining example and welcome recognition of the exceptional service and excellence we continue to provide to Durham residents each and every day. Please, again, members of council, join me in congratulating our team. And finally, I want to invite everyone to help us celebrate the Region's 50th anniversary by attending our free in-person family fun events on Saturday, June 15th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Events are being held at select regional facilities, including Dufferin Creek Water Plant Control Plant, in Pickering, Durham York Energy Center, in Curtis, Scugog Depot, and Port Perry, and here at regional headquarters in Whitby. To learn more about participating sites and to register for tours, visit durham.ca. Doors open. Members of council, will continue with the business of the day. Could I have have the clerk adopt a roll call, please?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Electronic roll call is starting now.
We're good? Okay, we have quorum. I also like to acknowledge Councillor Lee from the town of Whitby, who's here today for filling in for Councillor Shahid. So welcome. Councillor McDougall, we haven't got to that part yet, but okay, I understand. Mr. Clerk, next would be declarations of interest. I have none on my list. on the screen, and Mr. Clerk, online. Sorry, give me 1 second. We're good, so there are no declarations, which moves us to adoption of the minutes of Regional Council meeting April 24th. Mover, Mayor Barton, seconded by Councillor Miriam Pietri. Okay, comments or questions? Seeing none, call the vote. All those in favor? In opposition? Seeing none, that carries. We have a number of presentations today. First presentation, 5.1, is Chris Hornberg, Deputy General Manager, Transit Services, with Anthony Pizzetti, Deputy General Manager, Transit Operations, Safe Driver Awards.
Good morning, everybody. Mr. Chair, members of council, my name is Chris Hornberg. I'm the Deputy General Manager of Business Services, and I'm pleased and honored to be here today to recognize Durham Region Transit's 2023 Safe Driver Award recipients. Just by way of background, the annual Safe Driver Awards program acknowledges recipients who have achieved safe driving milestones of 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, and 30 years of driving without a preventable collision. In 2023, DRT operated just over 16 million kilometers of revenue service. And in comparison, flying the same distance would be the same as traveling to the moon and back almost 21 times. For many people, driving in regular traffic can be challenging at the best of times, but when considering the skills and abilities required to safely operate a transit bus, this achievement by our award recipients is truly remarkable. And with that, I'll turn it over to my colleague, Anthony Pizzetti.
Thank you, Chris, and good morning. Since 2015, we've been honoring our safe operators through acknowledgement here, as well as other awards through the Ontario Safety League. As Chris mentioned, every operator will drive approximately 45 to 50,000 kilometers in a DRT bus. The average Ontario motorist puts about 16,000 kilometers in their car. And a few more stats to share. On top of those 16 million revenue kilometers that our operators performed, we had 61 preventable collisions. So we hold our operators to a very high standard in which they have to not only operate their bus safely, but they're actually correcting for errors that other motorists and road users might make. So when you think about 16 million kilometers, 61 preventable collisions, that's every bus is traveling approximately 268,000 kilometers before a preventable collision occurs. So that is a extremely high rate of safety in terms of transit operations. It's approximately 18% better than our neighbors directly to the west. And as a recent move from another transit operation, that's about 2 to 3 times better than the operation that I came from. We don't have the opportunity to bring all 33 of our operators here today. If we did that, we would have a number of customers, unfortunately, without a bus or delays. So what we're doing on Sunday, June the 9th, we're going to be having a Safe Operators Awards brunch in which we can bring our operators together to celebrate their milestones and to show our appreciation for their dedication to safety within the region. So I mentioned there was 33 operators. Those are 33 operators. As we maybe advance a few slides, we'll start displaying the names of the 33 folks that have achieved these 5-year milestones. But it's also important to note, of our approximately 400 operators and growing, there are a number of operators that are in between those 5-year milestones that were able to go through the 2023 operating year without a safety incident. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions? Mayor Foster.
So, Chair Henry, I'm looking at you because I know I'm going to get a glance in response. Do you know how deeply we appreciate the work that you and your staff are doing? And would you kindly send our compliments along?
Well done. Any other question? To your team and the great service they provide to the residents of Durham, congratulations. Job well done. I had a chance, members of council, to sit and drive a bus in a very small parking lot a little while ago. And I have to tell you that it is a very specialized skill, and it takes a particular talent to manage that bus on the streets that are not from that seat, that do not look as wide as they are to someone who's driving a car. But anyways, congratulations to you and your team. Well done.
Thank you.
Members of council, our next presentation is Michael Sitkovic, CEO of the Ability Center, and Allison Hector Alexander, Director of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion.
Regional Chair Henry and members of council, good morning. And thank you for the opportunity to address this body regarding your incredible work at the Regional Municipality of Durham, which culminated in the region winning the prestigious Accessible Employer of the Year Award at the 2024 Ability Center Accessibility Awards. As a resident of the town of Whitby for the past 11 years, in fact, it's my electric scooter you'll find out in the parking lot, and having called Durham Region home for the past 16 years, I'm very proud to live, work, and play in a community that invests in accessibility and inclusion. It's not lost on me that I'm here with you today as we collectively celebrate National Accessibility Week, with this year's theme being Forward Together, Accessibility and Inclusion for All. At Ability Center, we don't use the term DEI, we use the term IDEA because we include accessibility in our inclusion, diversity, equity, and accessibility. Just a few days ago, the region and Ability Center hosted an incredible Durham Accessibility Workshop, which was attended by nearly 300 advocates and organizations, proving our community's passion in accessibility. Having recently joined Ability Center as the new president and chief executive officer, it brought me great joy to learn that nearly all of the local area municipalities have completed or are participating in the renowned Lead Canada process, which helps organizations to successfully embed accessibility and inclusion strategies, giving staff the confidence and capabilities to meet the needs of all Canadians. To date, Ability Center has helped dozens of municipalities, school boards, and corporations through the LEAD process. In the coming months, Ability Center will look to increase its sport and event hosting capacity so the Durham region, through expanded tourism, and Ability Center, through hosting, can bring more visitors to our region and showcase our leadership in accessibility, while also increasing revenue to deliver on our mission and develop more accessible and inclusive programming. In just 12 years, Ability Center has become best in class for its accessible programs such as Thrive, an incredible adult day program serving nearly 80 wonderful participants who bring such joy to our building each day. Therapeutic Recreation in Schools, or as we call it, TRIS, is currently being implemented in 3 school boards in Durham and Toronto regions and has impacted more than 20 schools and 300 students. With thousands of fitness members who visit Ability Center, we continue to generate revenue that supports amazing programs like TRIS, Thrive, LEAD, and others. Unlike other fitness clubs where profits go to shareholders, our Durham Region community users enjoy the world-class facility while also financially supporting our cause and our nonprofit organization. Durham Region continues to walk the walk by making decisions through a lens of inclusion and accessibility. The region has accomplished several of the goals identified in its current strategic plan, which I know concludes at the end of this year. Congratulations. It's because of this leadership that the Regional Municipality of Durham was recognized as the 2024 Accessible Employer of the Year at our recent Accessibility Awards. Presented to a business organization that has made an outstanding contribution to creating an accessible and inclusive workplace culture. The Accessible Employer of the Year lives organizational values and promotes the active and meaningful participation of individuals with disabilities in the labor market. The highlight is Project Search, and I know you see it out in the hallway. It's a 10-month transition to work internship program for high school students with developmental or intellectual disabilities who are in their final year of school. Project Search is an example of positive change through strategic partnerships. The success of Project Search has come through a collaboration between Durham Catholic School Board, the Ability Center, and the Regional Municipality of Durham. As the employer in the Durham Region chapter of Project Search, multiple award winner, Allison Hector Alexander has led important work, which has resulted in placing 10 interns in meaningful positions across 2 work sites during the first cohort of selected students. My understanding that process has already started for year 2. This is one step forward in helping create an inclusive Durham region. Through Allison's passion, dedication, expertise, and values, Project Search has become a best practice for other regional municipalities, school boards, and private partners. Please join me in congratulating multiple award winner. I feel like it's Taylor Swift or Beyonce at the Oscars. Multiple award winner and the Regional Municipality of Durham for winning the 2024 Employer of the Year. Congratulations, Region, and congratulations, Allison. I yield the floor. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
These members of council, questions? Seeing none, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And again, congratulations, Allison. Next delegation is Mr. Steve Gregorius, Chief Nuclear Operator, Ontario Power Generation. Oh, Caitlin, will you do an introduction, please?
Yeah. Good morning, Chair Henry and members of council. I'm Caitlin Rochon. I'm the manager of corporate initiatives here at the region, and I lead the nuclear sector working group and coordinate the reports related to the nuclear sector. Today, I'm here to welcome and introduce Steve Gregorius, who is the Chief Nuclear Officer for Ontario Power Generation, where he oversees both the Pickering and nuclear generating stations. So I want to thank you today for coming and to share this update with council.
Thank you, Caitlin. Good morning, Regional Chair Henry, mayors and councillors. Again, my name is Steve Gregorius. I'm the Chief Nuclear Officer for Ontario Power Generation. And with me today,
Good morning. My name is Lindsay Hamilton. I'm the Senior Manager of Stakeholder Relations at Ontario Power Generation. Thanks for having us here today.
and thanks for the opportunity to speak with you today. Today, I'd like to provide you with a status update on our nuclear operations and our nuclear projects at both the Darlington and Pickering sites, and we'd be happy to answer any questions you may have. Before I begin, I'd like to take a moment to thank the Region of Durham, Council, and staff for your ongoing support of our operations and projects. We value the long-standing relationship with the region and its communities. We understand it's a privilege and not a right to operate in these communities, and we work hard each and every day to earn the trust and confidence of our local communities. I'd also like to extend my thanks to Mayor Foster for his continued dedication to the Canadian Association of Nuclear Host Communities and the dedicated work that team is doing to support nuclear host community engagement worldwide. Thank you, Mayor Foster. In addition, our thanks to regional staff, including the nuclear sector working group members, Caitlin being a lead of that, who facilitate multiple initiatives related to the nuclear sector, including investment attraction and preparing the region's submissions for regulatory processes. We are proud of more than the 50-year history we have in Durham Region. We are the largest employer in the region and the majority of our almost now 8,000 staff who work in Durham Region also live here and contribute to the well-being of our communities. Next slide, please. On this slide, there's a graph from the Independent Electricity System Operator, our grid operator, and it shows the pathways to decarbonization, I'll say trend, from now until 2050. And what it shows is that electricity capacity needs is expected to more than double between now and 2050, with an average of about 2% increase per year. And that growth in electricity demand is primarily driven by economic and population growth, along with electrification of the industrial sector and electrification of the transportation industry. OPG is set to do its part to fight climate change. The strategy of our company is rooted in our climate change action plan, and our goal is to be a net zero company by 2040 and to be a catalyst for a net zero economy by 2050. We will help the province meet its capacity needs and protect the environment by optimizing our existing hydroelectric fleet and exploring new hydroelectric opportunities throughout the province. Leading hydrogen development, exploring energy storage opportunities, ensuring our nuclear refurbishments are completed safely and with quality, on schedule and on budget, leading the advancement of small modular reactors, and supporting a feasibility study for the province on additional new nuclear build throughout the province. I'd like to now talk about the work we're doing at our sites and within the region that supports both the growth for demand of electricity and the country's goal of being net zero by 2050. Next slide. So for Darlington Nuclear, Darlington has 4 units. Those units, when in service, produce 20% of the electricity for the province of Ontario. The site went fully into service in 1993, and as you likely know, is currently under refurbishment. I'll talk about that in a second. Darlington, for over a decade, has been recognized as a top-performing nuclear power plant worldwide, and we're proud of that. But in addition to producing clean and reliable electricity for Ontario, Darlington produces life-saving isotopes for the food, medical, and other industries, and I'll list a few. Helium-3, produced at Darlington to support security search equipment and quantum computing. Tritium, produced at Darlington, supports fusion. It's the fuel for fusion, as well as safety lighting and signs. Moly-99 is now being produced at the Darlington site for diagnostics and imaging to fight heart disease and cancer. And soon, once a license amendment's approved, Darlington will produce Cobalt-60, which is used to sterilize medical instruments and food. And in the near future, we'll add 2 additional isotopes, and I'll ask you to stay tuned until we have approval for those. Recent surveys show that there is 85% public support for Darlington operations. Next slide, please. As a whole, the nuclear industry contributes to the Ontario economy by creating jobs, supporting a province-wide manufacturing supply chain, and contributing to the healthcare, research, and innovation sectors. This amounts to a more than $5 billion per year industry, with regional direct spending of $2 billion per year, direct payments to municipalities of $10 million in property tax and $16 million in utilities, and full-time employment growing and reaching about 8,000 people as people move to the region, to our new corporate headquarters as it continues to be built out in Oshawa. As a status for the Darlington refurbishment project, recall that the refurbishment's there to replace some life-limiting components in the reactor, as well as to improve the reliability of a number of support systems so that that plant operates for another 30 to 35 years. And the current status is Unit 2 was returned to service in 2020. Unit 3 was returned to service in 2023, both those units operating at full power today and very well. Unit 1's in its final stages of construction and will be returned to service starting in late July. Expect that that unit to be in service by end of 24 or early 25, ahead of schedule. And then Unit 4 progressing in its construction activities to dismantle the reactor, and expect that unit to be in service end of 25 or early 26. Next slide, please. In 2019, OPG began a review of small modular reactor technologies, and in 2021, we announced GE Hitachi as our technology partner and chose the BWRX-300 as the small modular reactor technology we would build at the Darlington site. We currently hold a site preparation license for new nuclear on the Darlington site, and with that license, activities are currently in progress to grade the site, to bring in site services, and build a number of safety walls to support the construction proper digging activities. The project's being completed in partnership with GE Hitachi, who's the technology developer, Atkins Realis, who's the architect engineer, and Aecon, who's the constructor. And then I'll just remind Council that last year the Ontario government asked Ontario Power Generation to commence planning and licensing for 3 additional small modular reactors on the Darlington site. And our goal now is to have 4 SMRs on the Darlington site producing 1,200 megawatts of electricity. That's enough electricity to power 1.2 million homes. The benefits of the SMR project are shown on the right-hand side of the slide. Next slide, please. This slide shows a high-level project timeline for SMR Units 1 to 4, pending regulatory approval from the Canadian Nuclear Safety Commission. A public hearing was held this January, and it was focused on validation of the current environmental assessment that's in place on the site. It was important to prove that the technology chosen, the BWRX-300, fit within the environmental assessment, the plant parameter envelope assumed, and the environmental impact statement. Happy to say that the Commission ruled in April of this year and agreed that the EA was bounding, and this is a significant decision for us because it allows us to move forward with a license to construct and then the actual construction activities. So the next step then is a license to construct. This license is needed to actually start to dig below 78 meters above sea level. A hearing scheduled for this fall, and an expected decision is in Q1 of 2025, at which point formal construction activities will proceed. In addition, in 2026, we'll apply for a license to operate. Hearings will be in 2028, and this will allow us to secure a license to operate, which in turn allows us to load fuel in the reactor and to do certain commissioning activities that would move us to the first SMR being commercially available in 2029. As always, license to construct and license to operate commission hearings are open to the public and other stakeholders, and this would be a great opportunity for the region and municipalities to participate via intervention. And I want to take a moment to thank both Pickering and the region of Durham for your interventions for the upcoming hearings for Pickering Extension, which I'll talk to shortly. If you have any questions on how to participate, Lindsay's here. She'd be more than happy to provide support. Thank you, Lindsay. Next slide, please. The Pickering Nuclear Generating Station has been operating for over 50 years and has been a proud part of the Pickering community over this period. Pickering produces 14% of the electricity for Ontario, and it's also recognized as a top-performing nuclear power plant. Pickering produces cobalt-60, again for the medical and food industry. In fact, 20% of the cobalt produced worldwide is produced at Pickering. Units 1 and 4 will be shut down at the end of 2024 per plan, and OPG is currently in the process of extending the operation of Units 5 to 8. Right now, those units are licensed to operate to the end of 2024. Our intent is to extend operations out to the end of 2026. And this is basically because of the electricity demand needed in the summers of 25 and 26, when we have Units 1 and 4 shut down at Pickering and refurbishments ongoing at both Darlington and the Bruce Power site. In order to extend operation to 2026, we've applied for a license amendment. There will be public hearings. Those will occur in Pickering, June 19th and 20th, to support the request for extended operation. We expect a ruling by the Commission in the fall, and I'll let the Council know that we are confident that the Pickering site is fit for service and safe to operate for an additional 2 years. Next slide, please. Given the more recent changes in electricity demand and the need to more than double our capacity of the grid by 2050, and given the success of the Darlington refurbishment project that we're currently having, OPG completed a study to assess the feasibility of refurbishing Pickering Units 5 to 8. The study was submitted to the province in the summer of 2023, and in January of this year, the provincial government announced their support towards the refurbishment of Pickering Units 5, 6, 7, and 8. With that, $2 billion was approved to move forward with project initiation phase, which includes more detailed engineering to finalize the scope, securing long lead items, and engagement with our Indigenous communities and other stakeholders. Scope, cost, and schedule will get finalized over the next 1 to 1.5 years, with the intent of going for approval for an additional release of money to start the work. The intent would be to start the work on the first unit in 2028, with all units coming back in a staggered fashion from the early 2030s to the mid 2030s. And of course, all of this is subject to approval by both the shareholder and the Canadian Nuclear Safety Commission. I wanted to circle back to community and reinforce that at OPG, our relationships with our local communities are very important to us. One of the ways we work towards supporting our communities through our corporate citizenship program, and shown on the right-hand side of the slide, are a number of initiatives that Lindsay and her team run with the local communities as part of this program. It's also important to note that we provide sponsorship to more than 300 organizations across Durham to help our community achieve its goals. And I'll conclude by reinforcing that we understand it's not a right, but a privilege to operate and execute our projects in our communities, and earning the trust and confidence of our local communities is something we keep front of mind each and every day. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Questions, members of council? Councilor Marion Pietri.
Thanks, Chair. Good morning, and thank you for the presentation. We really appreciate you being here today because a colleague and I were just discussing throughout the presentation just how important OPG has been and continues to be in not only our region but throughout the province and even throughout the country when you consider its play with respect to the future of EVs and the capacity that we're looking forward to. Excuse me, my question through you, Mr. Chair, is there are often bids that are put forward by different municipalities, which would include the region of Durham, that are predicated on capacity of electricity, and they're ones that are aggressive and require us to compete at a global. I mean, nationally we're competitive. Globally, we have to be as competitive, if not more so. Can you talk a little bit more about the capacity that both at Darlington and in Pickering you'll be able to provide for these bids and for these particular EV factories and the quantum that's required? Because I think for the average person, through you, Mr. Chair, you may think that you can put it anywhere, but my understanding is that the region of Durham and in specific areas, within the city of Oshawa, you have that capacity and maybe not in other parts of the province. So this is very important for us to understand that.
Okay, thank you for the question. Thank you for the recognition. It is an important question because as EV factories or large AI, factories, I'll call them factories, get established, those are large amounts of megawatts that get demanded by the grid. We're talking 300 megawatts, so the size of an SMR. And so that has to be done planfully. And so OPG works very closely with the independent electricity system operator to make sure that as the province works with different companies to build out that infrastructure it's done so that both the grid and the generators can support that build out. And so that's a continued work in progress. I say there's some work to be done there to make sure we're well coordinated and we stay in step so that we're always ahead and have extra capacity for demand. I'll also say that while OPG takes a leading role in supplying electricity for the province, it's not the only generator. So it's going to take multiple generators to make sure we meet that need.
It's great. I don't have any further questions. I just want to continue to recognize OPG as a major component of what we need and require, not only locally but nationally, to be able to advance the kind of employment that we look forward to in the future. I know that friends and family members have been employed at OPG, namely my mom for decades. So I want to compliment how serious you take not only the provision of energy now, but also the future needs. So thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
Councillor Kerr?
Thank you, Chair. And through you, Mr. Gregoris, thank you for your presentation. We have green energy targets in the province. You have very clearly shown how nuclear is a huge part of that. I noticed that Pickering is looking at refurbishing generators 5 to 8. Is it possible? Is it necessary? Is it advisable to bring forward a plan to refurbish generators 1 to 4? And would that be a better way to go than diversifying into energy sources which are perhaps not as reliable as nuclear? What's your position on that?
Thanks for the question. I would say that first, to build out clean electrical generation, nuclear has a significant component of that, but not the only component. Within the component of nuclear, refurbishments are a cost-effective way to build out and extend the capacity of our grid. And that's why we're refurbishing Darlington, and that's why we're going to move to refurbish units 5 to 8. We're moving forward with units 5 to 8 right now because we have an existing environmental assessment that supports that refurbishment and continued operation, which is, I'll say, that takes some significant effort. So with that in hand, we can move forward with the planning and the execution, along with all of the engagement activities that go with that. The Pickering 1 to 4 units do not have an environmental assessment to support their continued operation. So they're in a different position for being able to move to some kind of generation on that part of the site. They're also the first vintage of CANDU units built in the world at that level, 500 megawatts. And so, as you can imagine, with each additional build, so it went Pickering 1-4, then Bruce A, then Pickering 5-8, then Bruce B, and then Darlington, and in between that, units worldwide. The technology and the design advanced. And so there's some additional design advancements that would be required for the Pickering 1 to 4 units that would say a refurbishment isn't the way to go. But I tell you that where that site is located and all the infrastructure in place from water to the grid to a full organization and supply chain and vendors, our intent is to look and provide different proposals for how we best use the 1 to 4 side of the plant to generate electricity.
Thank you. It just seems to make more sense to revitalize what you have than to find another site and start from scratch. So where do the small modular reactors fit into this? In terms of potentially looking at 1 to 4 or locating small modular reactors distally so that they can directly service certain areas. Is that a more doable or a more advisable way to go, or is it best because the infrastructure is there to consider looking at revitalizing 1 to 4?
Yeah, I would say revitalizing 1 to 4, the reactor side, is not something we'd proceed with. But using the turbine side of the plant, using the intake structure for the cooling of different systems, and then figuring out what kind of technology could be put on the north side of the turbine, that's what we would look at. It could be small modular reactors. OPG is working with Atkins Realis and Bruce Power on ACL on updating the Monarch design, the newest design for the CANDU reactor. That design would allow for some build out there as well. And so all that'll be considered, whether it's large, whether it's small, the appetite by the communities, by the municipality, by the province, and the regulator. And we put together a proposal to see if we'd get support.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor McDougall.
Thank you. Thanks for the presentation, and I certainly appreciate everything that OPG does for our community. And being a professional engineer, I'd be remiss to say I think you're the largest employer of professional engineers in Ontario.
Yes.
My question is industry typically follows economic power wherever it exists? And my question is it possible for the nuclear industry in Canada, as it builds out, to compete globally with other areas that might not be producing as green a power as us?
Short answer is yes. And we're actually doing that right now. So, you know, what I would say is certainly our priority is within Ontario, but we're actively working with Saskatchewan and Alberta and with eastern provinces on a nuclear build out to help their jurisdictions where they don't have hydroelectric that they can use. And so wind and solar is great, but it's not there all the time. You need something to backstop that, and nuclear would be a solution. Beyond that, we're actively working with Tennessee Valley Authority and Southern Company in the U.S. Because they are collaborating with us as we lead with small modular reactor technology and build out. And then overseas, we're working with Poland and a number of, I'll say, Cernavodă and Romania, and a number of, I'll say, some operators, some non-operators. I know Mayor Foster certainly talks with a lot of those different countries that are interested, and we're there to support in a number of ways. It could be just to understand the industry and what's involved to operate in the industry, because it is a unique industry, how to work with a regulator, how to cite a place to build, support for the regulatory process, support for build out, support for operation. There's lots of different ways that we're supporting different countries overseas to help them consider the use of nuclear technology.
Okay, thank you. That's all. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other members of council with questions? Mr. Clerk, online? Okay. Thank you for your presentation today, and thank you for keeping the lights on.
Okay. Thank you, Regional Chair Henry, mayors and councillors. We appreciate it.
Our next delegation is Bobby McBride, Chair, Board of Directors, Durham Community Foundation, who has joined us today, and Vivian Curl, Executive Director, Durham Community Foundation, who will be online. Oh, actually, she has sent her regrets. So your microphone is lit, and when you're ready, you have 5 minutes.
Good morning, Chair Henry and members of Regional Council. I'm here to talk to you about Durham Community Foundation's first ever Vital Signs report. Next slide. Durham Community Foundation is the charity's charity. We were created in 1994 and are celebrating our 30th anniversary this year. In those 30 years, we've invested $6.5 million in over 400 different charities in our region. Our primary focus is to fundraise to generate permanent resources for the various charitable causes in our region. Anyone can donate to any one of our individual endowments or create an endowment of their own for as little as $5,000. We also help charities through advocacy and non-monetary support. Vital Signs is one of our newest initiatives and provides stakeholders with the information they need to make informed decisions. Next slide. We invested over 18 months researching and compiling data from Statistics Canada, the region of Durham, the municipalities, and nonprofits. We used more than 100 sources, and 30 people helped produce this 55-page report. We focused on the 8 areas of vitality that you can see in this slide. And while the report is data-driven, we also share the shared experiences of community members, all the people like yourself who make Durham what it is today. Next slide. I'm sure no one in here is surprised to hear me say that Durham Region is growing rapidly. From 2016 to 2021, Durham Region experienced population growth of 7.9%. That's greater than Canada's overall population growth, and it's greater than the population growth of all Canadas within the G7. Clarington led the way with population growth of 10.2% over that period of time. And the growth story is more than just numbers. It's about more diversity, more seniors and children, and a more highly educated population. If there's one thing I'd like you to take away from this slide, is that our population is growing faster than our ability to serve it. Next slide. Nonprofits are at the forefront. Oh, sorry, could you go one more slide? Nonprofits are at the forefront of the responses to every issue that we've identified in the Vital Signs report, and they're at a breaking point. Locally, individual giving is down 5%, which is in line with the decline in giving across Canada. That represents a loss of over $3 billion to support charitable causes every year. Government funding has also been a challenge, with many charities reporting no increase in funding for decades, or a decline in funding, or even the complete elimination of funding. We know municipalities continue to grant into the community and offer funding opportunities. We congratulate the Region of Durham on the inaugural Thriving Communities Fund. It's a fantastic start, and we need to do more. Next slide. Or sorry, can you go back a slide? We have shared this report with our donors and challenged them to make a financial commitment to our Vital Durham Endowment Fund to ensure that there are permanent resources to address all of the pressing needs that we identify in our Vital Signs report. We'll continue to update this report on an annual basis, with our next update coming in December of this year. The Durham Community Foundation is asking that all elected officials use this report to ensure there is data-informed funding decisions that are made. Through the sharing of data and leveraging of each other's funding decisions, we stand the best chance to ensure our communities continue to thrive into the future. Thank you.
Questions? First will be Councillor Marin Pietri.
Chair Henry, just wanted to express my condolences to your foundation for the passing of Mrs. Lafarga. I know that she was a great community leader and an advocate for the foundation. There's a lot of great work that you've showcased that's happened over the years, and I know that she was a great part of it. So want to just express that. Also just wanted to, through you, Mr. Chair, ask some of the initiatives that you've undertaken in the past. You're seeing a shift in needs in our community and priorities. So just wondering if you've highlighted any that we should be aware of.
Yeah, all those 8 needs that we've identified are pressing needs, but mental health is becoming more and more of an issue. Food security, as well as homelessness, and violence against women and children. Those issues are all intimately connected and are a major need in our community. You need resources to combat that, and that is a challenge. And it's not just monetary resources. We can also donate our time if money's not there. But yeah, those would be the 4 that I would think would require the most pressing need, and they're all intimately related.
Thank you. Mayor Foster.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Some of you will wonder why I'm so quiet. I don't have Councillor Garrett here helping me along. He's on virtually, so just wanted to let him know that I'm missing him right now. Bobby, thank you for this. You were recently at Clarington and did a fantastic presentation. You speak to and actually we brought you in, I guess I should explain to members of council, you didn't come to council, but that was a volunteer appreciation event. We are so thankful for that. You speak to a 5% drop in financial contributions. Has there been any effort or any way to look at the drop in volunteer hours? So we are recognizing that volunteers are aging out in a number of communities. Would you share that, and do you have any statistics around that?
I don't have any specific statistics off the top of my head, but I know there is like a significant drop with COVID for obvious reasons, and like inertia is real. And a lot of those volunteers that kind of dropped out, much like people in the workforce, they didn't return. And as you mentioned, volunteerism in the younger generations isn't as high for whatever reason. I find everyone is so busy with their own lives. It's tough to find that time potentially, but that would be an interesting thing to focus, and I think would be more challenging to get a finite or specific number on it, but I know volunteerism is down significantly along with the financial support.
Okay, and something that you'd mentioned during our volunteer appreciation event was the ability through the foundation to set up endowments. And my recollection was the bar is pretty low in a good way.
Yeah.
On that. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, so there's a number of different ways you can support, and the endowments within the community fund are a pretty amazing thing. For as little as $5,000, anyone can establish a permanent fund to support whatever causes are most near and dear to their heart. There's open funds donor advised funds where you still are involved in the process of determining where your grants go on an annual basis. There's designated funds where you would designate a specific cause, or you can simply just, or designate where you designate a specific charity, or you can just tell us you want to focus on the senior population, and then our granting committee would determine on an annual basis where your grants would go to support those causes. We have a number of scholarship funds. If you want to establish a fund in whosever name you'd like to give back to the community, that's another popular option for people. But it's such a cool way to create a memory and a permanent source of support that you really don't have to do anything. I mean, the foundation takes care of everything for you.
So an individual could, or a group of individuals, contribute $5,000. You'd get a charitable tax receipt for that. That could be in the name of a loved one who has passed, or in recognition of someone. You administer it, whatever the focus is, violence against women and children, and that would carry on into the future.
Yeah, it's designed to carry on in perpetuity. We have outside chief investment officer through the Toronto Foundation that manages our pool, and then the CRA prescribes what you can grant out on an annual basis, and depending on the level of involvement you'd like, and be completely hands-off, and it can just exist in perpetuity without any interference, or you can be involved and join our granting committee in determining where your grants go on an annual basis.
Great, thank you. I think that's an amazing opportunity that we could hear more about. Thank you. Mr. Chair, thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Roy?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And Bobby, thanks for coming and bringing the presentation. Vivian brought it to us at Health and Social Services. I think it's very important that we hear the struggles that are happening with our non-for-profits. Can you, outside of what you presented within your presentation about looking how we hand out funds, can you identify other avenues that as municipal leaders that we can help to, one, ensure about the volunteering, two, looking at other means to help to get the support for our non-for-profits through our community?
Yeah, I mean, do more of what you're already doing. I know a lot of you personally and follow you online. You're everywhere sharing all the great things that we're doing, and that's contagious. I think that's probably the simplest thing that we can all do is share what we're doing and encourage others to do that as well. The vital signs report is another fantastic way. Just educate yourself. And I mean, we all know Durham is growing, but you look at the numbers and it's makes it more real. And I think those are two simple things that we all can do is share what we're doing and encourage others to share as well.
Are you also presenting this to the schools, especially since in our high schools that they need their 40 hours of volunteer?
I mean, that'd be a fantastic idea. We're really trying to promote this report and really make it a go-to source of information. I know there's certain, like you look at the Ice Bucket Challenge, I mean, something like that generates all kinds of funds, but they got more money than what they could even use. And I think that's sometimes a challenge is you see the puppies in the Humane Society ads, and that's where your money goes. But this report is meant to show where the needs are. And I think through the funders table, if we could coordinate through the municipalities so that all of our dollars are being used in the most efficient way, I think that would be very impactful in battling some of our most pressing needs.
Okay. Thanks, Bobby, and thanks for everything you do in our community.
Thank you.
Mr. Clerk, I see none online. My list is finished. Bobby, thank you very much for your presentation today.
Thank you.
Members of council, will move on to communications item. The first item, 7.1, is from the Association of Municipalities of Ontario, and it is a call for a single nomination, Mr. Clerk. So I'm looking for nominations. Mayor Roy?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to nominate our current representative, Councillor Mulcahy.
Okay, seconded by Mayor Collier. Okay, there was another, Mayor Carter. Sorry, do it again.
Close nominations.
Okay, before we'll move that nominations are closed. We'll call the vote on closing nominations. All those in favor? Oops, pardon? I need a seconder. Seconded by Councillor Miriam Pietri on closing nominations. On nominations being closed, all those in favor? In opposition? Seeing none, Councillor Mulcahy, you will take the endorsement.
I will, thank you, and I'd like to thank my colleagues around the table, but I'd also like to send a special thank you to Bronwyn Hanelis with the region for all of her assistance in working with AMO.
Okay, so members of council will need to vote on Councillor Mulcahy. All those in favor? In opposition? Seeing none, that carries, and congratulations. Members of council will move on to 7.2. There's a memorandum dated May 29th from Adnan Nihim, one of our solicitors. It's a bylaw to repeal and replace bylaw 2211-79. I need a motion to receive for information. Moved by Councillor Chapman, seconded by Councillor Brenner on the recommendation of receiving for information. Councillor Nicholson.
I'm just trying to get a clarification. Receive information means we're going to repeal the bylaw. Is that correct?
Mr. Hunt?
Because it says bylaw to repeal or replace bylaw 21179. But then the recommendation says receive for information. This means it's no action being taken.
Okay, I'll go to the clerk. Thank you.
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair, the responsive bylaws are also found under section 14 of the agenda. The correspondence simply indicates that they've been included on this agenda for consideration.
So we're just receiving the correspondence and we'll change the bylaw later.
Correct.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other member of council? Seeing none and none online, we'll call the vote. All those in favor? In opposition? Seeing none, that carries. We'll move on to 7.3, correspondence from Brock Board of Trade, bridge closure on Durham Region Road 15 in Beaverton. A recommendation is referred to consideration of report 2024-COW19. It is item 10.2 on the agenda. Can I get someone to move the recommendation, please? Moved by Mayor Schumer, seconded by Councillor Anderson. On the recommendation to refer this to the consideration of the report, all those in favor? In opposition? Seeing none, that carries. The next item is 7.4, confidential correspondence from Mayor Carter, City of Oshawa proposal or pending acquisition and disposal of lands with respect to the new Oshawa Whitby Depot. The recommendation is referred to consideration of report 2024 F-11. Can I get a mover and a seconder, please? Moved by Mayor Carter, seconded by Mayor Watton. All those in favor? In opposition? Seeing none, that carries. Members of Council, 7.5, confidential correspondence from Jason King, Chief Executive Officer of the Oshawa Greater Chamber of Commerce. Can I get a motion to refer this to consideration report 2024 F-11? Moved by Councillor Marion Pietri, seconded by Mayor Carter. Comments or questions? Seeing none. On the recommendation, all those in favor? In opposition? Seeing none, that carries. Okay, just 1 second. Mr. Clerk, could I have the sheets, please? Thank you. Members of Council, we're going to move on to committee reports. The first committee report is Finance and Administration, moved by Mayor Ash, seconded by Councillor Leahy. Is he online?
Yes, he is.
Councillor Leahy, are you seconding this? I don't see him. So let's go to. Oh,
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, thank you. That
Thank you.
Pardon? He's good? Okay, sorry. The recommendations contained in items 1 to 5 inclusive, report number 4 of the Finance and Administration Committee be adopted. Members Council pulls. It starts on page 62 of your agenda. Okay, Councillor Nicholson, I'll go to this, and if you could put a request in, please, then I'll go to you. Mayor Schumer?
Excuse me, pull number 1, please.
Number 1, thank you. Councillor Nicholson?
Number 5.
Number 5. Okay, Mayor Ash?
I'm wondering if number 5 can be moved to the report consideration in camera, if Councillor Nicholson's okay with that.
I'm fine.
Just 1 second, please. You know, Mayor, I think we're good just to go with it.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
It's a confidential report, and it's in regards to the debenture, which may or may not be required or to a lesser extent. So I thought there may be some benefit in having that discussion, but I'm fine with your ruling.
If it needs to go into closed session, I will come to you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So, members of council, 1 and 5 have been pulled. Is there anyone else wishing to speak on any of the other items? Seeing none, I'll call the vote on the remainder. All those in favor? In opposition? Seeing none, that carries. Mayor Schumer, on item number 1.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Chair. And I guess this question is to the Commissioner of Finance, because, you know, here we go again. We've got these unbudgeted items, you know, $500,000. Do we at this point have any idea how this will be funded in this year?
Okay. Go ahead, please.
Sorry, thank you, Chair Henry, through you to Mayor Schumer. The intent at this point is that we would look for, in purposes of 2024's budget, we would look to find efficiencies within 2024's budget to be able to fund it within 24, and then certainly for 2025, we're looking for opportunities to offset this cost, but it would certainly be a base pressure for us in 2025.
Okay, thank you. I mean, I do understand the need for it as outlined. It's concerning again that, when we heard this last year, where we had these pressures put on our budget, and part of the pressures were coming from unbudgeted expenditures during the year. And I realize it's only $500,000, but still it's a significant issue when they pile up. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to speak to item 1? Online? Seeing none. On the recommendation, I'll call the vote. All those in favor? In opposition? 1 in opposition, that carries. We'll move on to item number 5, located on page 72 of your agenda. Members of council, I'll remind you that this is a confidential report, but we'll need to get it moved onto the floor, and then we'll go from there. So, Councillor Chapman?
Sure, I have an amendment.
Well, let's get the item on the floor first. Oh, sorry.
It's already on the floor.
Oh, I'm sorry. You said? It's moved. Okay, I apologize. You have an amendment, Councillor Chapman.
I do, and it's been sent through to the clerks.
Okay, and you have a seconder?
I do, Councillor Nicholson.
Councillor Nicholson, seconder of the amendment. Is it possible to post the amendment, please? Okay, I'll just give members of council a second to look at it, and then, Mr. Clerk, the amendment's public, it can be read into the record. Councillor Chapman, do you want to read it into the record, please?
Sure. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Nicholson, that the master planning for the new Oshawa Whitby Depot on the subject property, approximately 70 acres, explore opportunities in consultation with planning and economic development for the potential co-location of additional employment uses, and should the master planning exercise identify surplus lands, that these surplus lands be put on the open market and sold for employment purposes. Okay. So this piece of property is in what will be employment lands once Envision Durham is passed. That's 70 acres being taken out of employment lands in Oshawa, which would reduce the opportunity for other industry, commercial, to purchase those lands and perhaps employ who knows how many people, depending on how many they come. I don't believe that in some of the discussions that the whole 70 acres will be needed. And if this was to pass, at the very least, when the planning is done as to what the depot is, where it should be on that hunk of property, if it passes through council, and how much of it is used, that the surplus should be available to those that may be interested in purchasing it to provide employment opportunities within the city of Oshawa. The other thing that must be realized, that if the region purchases this land, it reduces, we don't get any taxes on it in the city of Oshawa, which is the way it works. But having part of it, at least, that could go on to the open market. I'm not suggesting that we would sell it cheaper than whatever we're going to buy it for, which is in the confidential part of the report. I think they're trying to come in through the wall there. Yeah. That at least part of this property, as I'm saying, I don't think the whole 70 acres will be needed for the depot. That's yet to be seen. But whatever is surplus and or either to have a co-location for some employment uses and or to sell the surplus back on the open market so we can have employment lands, at least part of that property, if council should pass this. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Nicholson?
Yeah, thank you. In seconding this, I think this is the bare minimum that the region should be doing. we need a policy here in the region that when the region enters into a municipality, any of the 8 partner municipalities, and takes up employment lands for public use, that we need a policy where the region will then offset that acreage. You just can't go into a community and wipe out 70 acres of employment lands and say, oh, well, that has no impact on the lower tier, because it does. It wipes opportunities for jobs, works opportunities for taxes, it works out opportunities for further growth, servicing. There are significant impacts, and I think the same thing should apply in the reverse. If a local municipality wanted to acquire land that has impact on the regional end of taxation, then we have to develop policy that we offset that somehow. You just can't wipe out employment lands. The reason that I put that very clearly is that when we established the parameters under the OP and under the urban boundaries and under all the steps we take on planning, we designate land for employment. We say, these are the limits we're going to allow, here's the amount we're going to allow, here's the locations where we're going to allow it. And then when we throw all that out and decide we're going to impose ourselves as a region and buy out lands that we've already designated to be private employment lands, we need to have a way to offset that. You just can't wipe out the taxation base of a local community. 70 acres in Oshawa, we can absorb some of that. We can absorb some of that impact. But can you imagine if you took that and you put that in some of our rural communities and you decide you wanted to take out 10 or 15 acres of employment land, you wipe out the entire economic base. And that's why there's a pushback that you're getting from the lower tiers. It's not just from Oshawa, it's from Whitby, from other locations, for other projects, that are saying, you can't simply ignore your previous designation of employment lands and decide we're going to land bank for some future depot or some future operation that this council has not approved and the council has not financed. And we're seeing from the report here that despite having billions in reserves, we're going to borrow money to do this. So not only are we going to take from the tax base by using public lands, using private employment lands for public use, now we're going to ask the taxpayers that are left to pay more. And, it just strikes me, well, what's the point of going through the planning exercises and designating land uses if we as a region are going to simply walk like Goliath through the program and say, we're just going to impose our will? We are a partnership between the upper and lower tiers, and I think we have to recognize that. So I ask members of council to support the amendment as the bare minimum, and then we can have a very healthy debate on whether we want to actually proceed with this project in its entirety. But this gives some protection to the lower tiers and sets a precedent that hopefully will be used in other communities as well.
Okay, thank you. Councillor McDougall?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a question for the mover of the motion for clarification. It says opportunities in consultation with planning and economic development. Is that planning and economic development at the region of Durham or planning and economic development at the city of Oshawa, or both?
Councillor Chapman?
I would suggest it's.
Sorry.
Thank you. The intent is that it would certainly start at the region because the lower tier and the upper tier economic development departments work together in tandem. So what would be the look is if the regional economic development had some interest from somebody that hadn't got down to, in this case, to Oshawa, then going through that thing. But I know that our department under Commissioner Bridgman would certainly be in discussions with the city of Oshawa about potential other uses.
Thank you.
Very good, that's all, thank you.
Councillor Marin Pietri?
Thank you, Chair. Are we in camera?
No. we're
Okay, so I'll save my comments for the in-camera discussion, but I just wanted to highlight.
Councillor, we may not be going into camera unless you ask to go into camera.
I'm certain that there's going to be an in-camera discussion, I'd hope, anyways. This is a large expenditure.
On the amendment, yeah. So if the amendment passes and it goes to the main motion, and somebody wishes to go into camera to discuss the item, then we can.
Well, I'll signal that right away.
Okay,
So-
so when the amendment's finished, Mr. Clerk,
Yeah.
we've got a request to go in camera from Councillor Miriam Pietri to ask questions of,
On the report?
just of the report, but for clarification, we'll need, it's on a land acquisition? Yeah, okay, got it. Okay.
Yeah, thank you very much for that clarification. I appreciate the amendment. I can't support it, and I'll tell you why. When you consider the depth that's required and the breadth of, and I know that Commissioner Bridgman is sitting there and understands very well when competing on a global level, and even locally when considering the play for employment lands, it becomes very difficult to justify even a sliver of that land being vacated from the tax base for the purpose of municipal uses. There are other, lands that could be offered up for municipal uses. We know this. The legal department knows this. I would expect that economic development would have impressed this on the process. I do know that at the local level, we weren't consulted. That's a fact. And as Chair of Economic and Development Services in the city, it's not only appropriate, but incumbent upon me to make sure that, future needs are well, addressed and taken care of. This amendment, I appreciate the intent that if, the report passes and the expenditure is executed, that this at least gives us, some sort of an understanding of if there are excess or surplus lands, that we would then find out what we're going to do with it. It's a backwards process, though. We should already know how much land we need, what we're going to do with it, and in essence, that this would cause, tens of millions to vacate from the property tax base in comparison to a higher and better use. For example, the potential of an EV factory. There could be other uses, but just take this under consideration. I know that there's a lot of discussion about Northeast Pickering and the lands that are taking out and the impacts that have occurred in that community. And I appreciate that. And I respect that discussion. In fact, I support, the mayor and the councils that are impacted by these economic plays. Please consider the economic play in the city of Oshawa. We're not saying that you shouldn't be, locating municipal services in our city. I don't want to call it a depot because we don't even know what it's going to be. But is this the right location at this cost? And essentially with this impact, calculating how many jobs per hectare are required and the targets that we have, calculating that larger land masses are very important in being competitive and offering up bids, for example, for EV factories and that component, and then taking that all out of the equation. And even if you have a facility that's built on spec, you're talking anywhere from $5 to $10 million a year being vacated for a lower use, not a higher and better use. So the criticism isn't with need or function, it's with location. And I hope that council will appreciate that, because this amendment still speaks to the fact that this location is okay. It is not okay for the residents and the taxpayers of the region of Durham, let alone the city of Oshawa. And I would encourage everyone to do a gut check and understand just how important it is for us to broaden our tax base and seek alternative options when it comes to facilitating this potential municipal service. Having said that, that's a level of discussion that I'd like to go in when we go into camera. I also would like to present the fact that I'm a bit disappointed that that particular discussion was not brought back to committee, because that was a direction of that committee. And as councillors, I do fundamentally believe that was not only appropriate, but it was within the rules of order, and that was not followed. So unfortunately, there are different issues, but the issue that I have, and the one that I believe that taxpayers will have, is the stagnation of this property for municipal use as opposed to a higher and better use.
Councillor Nicholson, you've already spoken to the amendment. Sorry.
I just put my name down so that I've only spoken on the amendment.
Yes. It doesn't
So when the
main motion.
main motion, because I pulled it, then you went to Councillor Chapman, so you kind of went around me.
I apologize.
So I just want to make sure that I get a chance to speak on the main motion.
You will have an opportunity.
And it'll probably be in camera as well.
Okay, thank you. All right, so members of council, that exhausts the speakers. Yes, okay, recorded vote has been requested by Councillor Chapman on the amendment. Mr. Clerk, when you're ready.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Recorded vote on the amendment is starting now.
Okay, so the amendment carries. And so now it's to the main motion. So Councillor Marion Pietri, you have a request to go in camera.
I do, Chair Henry.
Okay, seconded by Councillor Nicholson to go in camera. No, Councillor Nicholson, or Councillor Marion Pietri, when he spoke, requested to go into closed session. So I apologize, but, okay, so we, Mr. Clerk, before we go into closed session, how much time do we need to go to closed session? To shut down. So, members of council, maybe what we'll do is I will call the vote to go into closed session, but before I do that, can I get a motion to recess for 10 minutes? Moved by Councillor Kerr, seconded by Councillor McDougall. To go into close, okay, so Mr. Clerk, I've made an error. So we'll call the motion to go in camera, then we'll accept the motion to go on recess for 10 minutes.
Yes.
Okay, so the motion to go in camera, all those in favor? Opposed? Okay, that motion carries. And the motion to go into closed session, all those in favor? Sorry. Yeah, thank you. Motion to recess. I am struggling through a migraine, so I apologize. So we'll call the vote, and that carries. So we're in recess for 10 minutes. So let's make it easy. We'll come back at 10 after 11. Okay. Anything you want, including, if they'll let you, you could even go out and drive an excavator, but you have to ask. Could I have the door open to the council chambers, please? And members of council, I don't want to break, but it's going to take 2 minutes to get the live streams up and running. And then, is lunch in the background? Yes, it is. Then I'm going to suggest we break for lunch or work through our lunch, depending on. So maybe what we'll do is we'll take 15 minutes for everybody to grab a sandwich and come back in. Is that enough time? Okay. All right, so we'll do that immediately afterwards. Okay, members of council and to the public, we are back in open session. Mr. Clerk. Just looking for, okay, so we're in open session. Okay, so members of council, in the case of transparency, no motions or amendments were passed in closed session. We are back in open session. I understand that there is an amendment. Councillor Nicholson?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First of all, I'd like to request that a recorded vote be made on all votes regarding this item, both the amendment and the main motion.
Main motion, yes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Secondly, I'd like to move the motion that's was up on the screen. And if I get a seconder, I'll be happy to comment briefly.
So members of council, it's on your screen. I'm looking for a seconder. Seconded by Mayor Foster, so the amendment is on the floor.
Okay. The reason for the amendment, and I'm going to be very careful, is to give us the broadest potential use of these lands and allow us to do our due diligence on what options this land could be used for. That may involve a master plan or may not. It may allow a designated use that we've discussed previously, or it may allow a private sector use. We've been rushed to a decision on the purchase by timelines beyond our control. Normally, we would do our due diligence and decide what is the highest and best use for this property and what's the best financial plan for the region. This motion allows us to catch up and do all those things. Look at all the reasons, ask ourselves the appropriate questions without putting ourselves in a position to pass up on, this is a very reasonable price. I think it's something that whether you're pro-depot or anti-depot, this doesn't take away any of your options. What it does is allow you to, for want of a better way, postpone the fight for another day. Allow us to take advantage of the market, and then we'll make an informed, fully due diligence decision on how we want to proceed with these lands. My personal preference is not a depot, but I'm willing to give staff the fighting chance to make their case. Right now, they have to prove to me we need a depot. If they can't do that, then I'll be the first one to move a motion to declare the entire set of land surplus and put them back on the market. So this doesn't tie our hands. This actually allows us to do our due diligence.
Thank you. Mayor Foster is the seconder.
So, Mr. Chair, thank you very much. I'd be remiss if I didn't second this motion. I'm going to go in a slightly different direction, but potential future regional use. We all know that in Clarington, waste has been a huge issue. And quite frankly, it's been a foregone conclusion that waste solutions have to be, we've got land in Clarington, it's regional land in Clarington right now. If it's an anaerobic digester, a pre-sort, which has been hugely controversial. We continue in Clarington to deal with that, and I'd like nothing more than not to have to deal with it. I know some members of council have recently been contacted by an organization that says they have a far better thermal solution. So the potential with this for potential future regional use could in fact give Clarington a break. It could in fact, instead of expanding the EFW beyond what needs to happen, we could be looking at these new future technologies. I haven't followed up on them, but we will now have options for pre-sort. We're going to need an anaerobic digester at some point in time. This council, or at least future councils, will have options with this amendment. So yes, I think without defining potential future regional uses, is it certainly to Clarington's benefit, and does it give future regional councils the ability to make considerations that they wouldn't have? Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Councilor Marion Pietri to the amendment.
Chair Henry, I'm going to speak to the amendment, but also commend the councillors, like Councillor Watton and Mayor Collier and others that have, spoken today in camera about, the concerns that they have with respect to this initiative. And I'll say that because no one was called by me in particular, and I have to tell you that the conclusion that a number of the council members came to is one that I think we should, as colleagues as well as taxpayers, really draw a great deal of comfort in having the right people at the table and understanding the impacts that this amendment could also have. As Mayor Foster indicated, this is a very open-ended discussion, and we're playing checkers, but now it's chess. And it is a very unfortunate situation that we're in, but it can be relieved very simply by us doing what's right. The pieces of this chessboard are not in the places they need to be. We're playing checkers here, and I think we're going to be in trouble as a result of the outcome for a number of reasons. I'm not comfortable with the amendment. I'm not comfortable with the process. If I was, and I have to say that some may, consider saying, they're infuriated or upset or, mad. I'm not. I'm disappointed. I'm very disappointed. I did not expect the trust of staff to be broken with council the way that it was. And I don't feel comfort in this amendment as a result. Under normal circumstances, if the process unfolded the way that it used to, or at least the way that I expected, I'd be quite comfortable with, the assessment that was provided in terms of what we can and cannot do and what we will and will not do, and essentially what our needs and what the process and the business case would be. That does not exist, not with me, and I think for a number of councillors around the table, without any intervention from myself, and I know that others at the regional level, aside from the discussion we had today, they came to their own conclusion. So I'll say this, if we're willing to put forward an amendment of this nature and think that the property is not going to be used for municipal purposes, then why would you end up purchasing the property? Leave it at market value for proponents who want to activate economic development to do so. On this property, you can put 1.5 million square feet. I know our economic development department has that number. If you combine the properties in the adjacent area, in the vicinity, immediately adjacent to these properties, you can put millions more square feet. In fact, there was a proposal that was presented by the city to the region to submit to the province in order to land a major employer. This will prevent us from doing so. Let's not kid ourselves.
Mayor Watt?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And to my colleagues' comments, it was essentially the same, only I'm going to put it much simpler. If it becomes potential regional use, how does that impact the city of Oshawa for their employment lands? Directly at the beginning of the conversation, there was concern that this land would be used for a depot and that much of the tax base and the funds would be lost to the city of Oshawa. So if we are doing this as a potential future regional use, how will that impact the employment lands? Perhaps it's been too long a morning, but I'm not getting it.
Mr. Bridgman?
Councillor, is that question to
To
me?
whomever would like to take it, because like I said, it's been a long morning.
Well,
Well, maybe perhaps Chair, and then looks like Mayor Carter has some comments.
I'll go to Mayor Carter next, and then we'll come back and see if we can't help. Mayor Carter, do you have that look that you haven't answered?
Just to preface my comments, I have been wrong once before. Once. Nobody talked to Paula. It doesn't change it, in my opinion.
Okay. All right, members of council, I see no other speakers. The amendment's on the floor. I'm just going to count for quorum. We're good. There was a recorded vote called on all items related to item 5, so called by Councillor Nicholson. So on item 5, I'll call the recorded vote on the amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. On the amendment, recorded vote is starting now. I'm looking for Councillors Garrod, Jubb, and Neal connected remotely. Second call for Councillors Jubb and Neal. Councillor Jubb is reporting he's having technical difficulties. Last call for Councillor Neal.
So the amendment loses.
Yeah, the amendment loses.
The amendment loses?
Yeah.
So members of council, the amendment loses. Okay, well,
Give me 1 second. I'm going to try to get council.
sorry, just give us 1 second. We have a technical issue.
I'm going to give Councillor Jupp a minute to try to get in.
Mr. Clerk? Okay, the amendment loses. We're now on to the main motion, and seeing no one requesting to speak, it was a recorded vote was called by Councillor Nicholson on the main motion. I'll call that vote now then, please, on item number 5.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Recorded vote on confidential item number 5 of FNA report number 4 as amended is starting now. Looking for Councillor Neal connected remotely. Second call for Councillor Neal. Last call.
Okay, so it loses. Item 5 is lost. Members of council, we will break I'll look for a motion to recess for 15 minutes while you grab lunch. Moved by Mayor Watton, seconded by Councillor Yamada on a 15-minute recess. All those in favor? Sorry, all those in favor? In opposition? Seeing none in the room, that carries. Mr. Clerk, when you're ready, call this meeting back to order, and can you do a roll call, please?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Electronic roll call is starting now.
Only you can make the decision. Members of council, we have quorum. We're moving on to the Health and Social Services Committee meeting. Mayor Roy is not with us this afternoon, so Councillor Dyes, you're going to move the report as the vice chair, seconded by Mayor Foster, that the recommendations contained in item 1 and 2, inclusive of report number 4 of Health and Social Service Committee, be adopted. Polls. Online? Seeing none? We'll call the vote. All those in favor? All those in favor? In opposition? Seeing none, that carries. We'll move on to Planning and Economic Development, moved by Councillor Chapman. Councillor Pickles is online. Just a thumbs up as a seconder. Thank you, Councillor Pickles. that the recommendations contained in item 1 of report number 5 of the Economic Development Committee be adopted. Opposed? Seeing none and no hands on the report, all those in favor? In opposition? None, that carries. We'll move on to Works. Moved by Mayor Barton, seconded by Councillor Marin Pietri, that recommendations contained in item 1 to 4, inclusive of report number 5 of the Works Committee be adopted. Polls. Mayor Foster, you push a button, please. Up button, please. Okay, on 2's polled. Any other polls? Seeing none, we'll call the vote on the remainder. All those in favor? In opposition? Seeing none, that carries. On item number 2, Mayor Foster.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a couple comments on item 2. You were at Clarington Council the other day. Staff specifically speaking to the new blue box legislation. One, our thanks both to you for the information that you gave, and significant thanks to staff for the rest of members of Council. Clarington will be likely coming forward with a motion to encourage support for businesses in BIAs. If your BIAs are not aware of the changes, they should be made aware of the changes because they will impact businesses. But I think out of that discussion and dialogue, some good ideas came forward. And again, I want to thank regional staff for their engagement and involvement in that. You will see, it'll be on the next Works agenda. There are some motions broadly speaking to waste coming from Clarington, and someone from Clarington will certainly be at that Works committee. Mr. Chair, I want to provide apologies to you. One of our councillors accused Durham Region of poisoning the residents. That was, well, I'll let you guess, of poisoning the residents. I'm not sure, Councillor Wu, if I've got the words exactly correct on that. But the word poisoning was used, with regards to the FW. I do not support that. I am certain that Councillor Anderson won't support that, and I think that comments like that are exceptionally ill-advised. You took it in stride, sir. Thank you. I'm not sure I would have been as patient. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Crawford.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My understanding with the BIAs not being included in the transition was that Durham Region would continue to do the blue box. Has something changed in that?
Commissioner?
Through the chair, there's no change until end of 2025. So as of now, January 1, 2026, BIA's blue box collection will cease to exist. However, through a motion of this council and other forums, we are trying to put pressure on the province to make sure they retain that beyond that date. And I think a couple of days ago, we got a response from the province, of course, initial stage positive one that they will review it. And I know that there are other municipalities as well, like across Ontario, they'll get impacted. So given that we've got 18 months, we are hopeful the province might move on this to include ICI users such as small businesses, also to the EPR regime.
But from this point, July 1st, we will continue with their blue box. Is that correct?
Yeah, until end of...
Until the end of 24, yeah.
Exactly, until December 31, 2025, there's
Okay.
no change.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Wu.
Yeah, and thank you, Chair Henry. And again, I just want to echo Mayor Foster's comments. Thank you very much for bringing your annual address first to Clarington, then also to Ramesh and Andrew. And I think they're trying to roll out to each municipality about the new Blue Box program, which is starting in 1st of July, and the enhanced green bin. And certainly, in speaking about the green bin and some of the added materials that can be added to that, which leads to less that hopefully that will go into the waste stream. But again, I want to add, and again, apologies to yourself. You're a great champion for the region. In the last, let's say, couple of weeks, we've seen you a couple of times in the municipality of Clarington. Certainly one program that was hosted by and I know I'm getting a little off topic, but again, I wanted to say thank you. The Clarington Board of Trade hosted Navigating Homelessness. And then and this is a great announcement last Friday on the newly launched Central and Eastern Ontario Isotope Alliance. I think on some of those two events, I think we've seen you more there than some of our council members. So thank you very much, and appreciate all that you do. And you're always, always, always welcome in the great municipality of Clarington.
Okay, well, thank you. With no other hands up, I'll call the vote on the item. All those in favor? In opposition? Seeing none, that carries. Members of council, we'll move on to departmental reports and other resolutions. If you would turn to page 79 of your agenda, this relates to the Durham Region comments on Bill 185, the new provincial planning statement and affordable residential units bulletin. There is a recommendation on the page. Councillor Chapman is the chair of planning. Would you move that? Sure. Moved by Councillor Chapman, seconded as the vice chair. Councillor Pickles, thumbs up, seconded. The item's now on the floor. Questions? Councillor Nicholson.
First of all, I have no problem with the staff comments. I might have prefaced the comment with, you can make it easier on all of us, but just repeal the act. Says all you've done is cause chaos within the province of Ontario. I never thought I would see the day where the development industry and the municipalities and those who are purchasing homes and rental apartments all agree on one thing, that what's been done has totally screwed up the industry. No one is winning by this. Contrary to some of the comments you read in the media that the development community is benefiting, well, there may be some, but the vast majority of the development community, especially those who are mom and pop operators and small operators, this has added chaos to the industry and cost to the municipalities. In the end, it's not helping anyone. And at some point, the government has to realize that they're being counterproductive. Our comments, I hope, will go a ways towards doing that, starting to convince them. And I would ask for a recorded vote so we can send a united message to the province that this is simply not working. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Foster.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair, and Councillor Nicholson is 100% correct on this. I mean, this is being recorded for all posterity. Paper goes away, but digitally, man. The frustration from the development community as well as our staff, and when I say our staff, I'm talking about planning staff at the local levels, planning staff here, just trying to keep up with the changes, not just this bill. So the concerns, absolutely. Mr. Bridgman, I don't know if it's an undertaking. Clarington is going to try to engage developers to go to the province with a united message that in a world where frequently government and developers don't agree, that we can agree that they need to stop making changes. In my opinion, had the government left things alone, we would be much further ahead in building houses because everyone would know what the rules are, as opposed to stuff in a constant state of flux. And then we've got the federal government who has decided they need to get involved and tell us how best to to build and promote our communities. I don't know, Mr. Bridgman, I'm guessing you don't know. Would you hazard a guess as to how many professional urban planners work for the federal government?
No, I couldn't hazard a guess, and I couldn't even hazard a guess for the provincial government, but I can corroborate what Councillor Nicholson and you have said about the general feeling as between across the entire spectrum, the feeling of chaos that's going on. No less than 12 pieces of legislation introduced since 2021 that have introduced a number of changes that affect the work we're trying to do.
So I would suggest while we're at AMO, while we're at FCM, to bring the message to the appropriate ministers to lay off. My guess on the federal side is slim to none on professional urban planners, but it's got to stop. I will make note in the ECIP or CIPA, we call it one thing in Clarington, you call it something different here. On the building report, and maybe the trends are too early to tell, but I note that the cost of resale houses over the last couple of years has dropped. That would be as a result of interest rate increases, while the cost of new builds has done nothing but go up over the last couple of years. So if that's an indicator, this legislation is not helping. Mr. Chair, thank you. You talk about your rants. Thank you for my ability to rant.
And when you're talking to provincial and federal members of government, can you remind them how much this is costing the residential property taxpayer? And the money that, and besides this number of, in my own opinion, the number of professional planners reach the same number of people that deal with mental health, homelessness, and addictions, because nobody returns my calls. That's just my opinion. I appreciate that. Next, Councillor Crawford.
So when you came to our, thank you, Mr. Chair. When you came to our council, you mentioned that at the beginning of Bill 23, the region lost $58 million right off the top. So I don't see any mention of that in our comments here, like where is it and can we have it back?
Well, behind the scenes, we are making the government aware of what the costs related to Bill 23 cost the region.
But they took our money.
Well, they didn't take our money. It was money that we couldn't collect that we have to make up. So the province didn't get the money, but the people buying homes didn't get the discount either.
Okay, thank you.
However, I'm in the chair. I can speak my mind, I guess. But on that issue, it's important to understand that under the new development charge regime created under Bill 23, Durham Region was the first municipality under that. So this year, were caught within our budget. It was a $58 million line budget. But the province was made keenly aware that the next one to do their development charge realignment was Peel, followed shortly by York. And the the work that we had done was part of the reason why that's been reversed. However, it is right now unrecoverable funds. But we're working on it. Councillor Leahy.
Thank you, Chair. Through you to staff. If I go over my notes, I was trying to find a spot if this was the right report, but the comments around the removal of the ramp for the 412 at Roslyn Road, is this the appropriate place that would be addressed?
No.
Okay.
But let me finish that question.
Yeah.
When would be the appropriate time to ask that question?
Either at the end in other business, or I can tell you that on the June 4th Planning and Economic Development Committee, there will be more discussion about the ministry's draft decision and our response to it.
Oh, so there'll be an opportunity then, so it doesn't have to be now. Yeah. Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. That exhausts the speakers list. We'll call the vote. Recorded vote was requested by Councillor Nicholson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Recorded vote is starting now.
Can I mention that?
Looking for Councillor Neal, connected remotely. Second call for Councillor Neal. Last call. Voted no.
Okay, that carries. I did get a note related to planners at the province, Mayor Foster, and there are 0 planners at the province who have the designation of Registered Professional Planner, RPP, which is required for our planners. Members of council, we'll move on to item 10.2, the Beaver Ridge replacement on behalf of the Ministry of Transportation. There is a recommendation. It's located on page 156. Okay. Could I get someone to move the recommendation, please? Moved by Councillor Leahy, seconded by Mayor Foster. The recommendation is now on the floor. Councillor Chavin?
Sheet, can you tell me what the recommendation is?
The recommendation is quite long. It deals with the replacement, bridge replacement on behalf of the ministry. So I can read it into the record, or
We're gonna take a look at it.
okay. So I'll give you a minute
We're
to
copying
catch
somebody
up.
else's homework.
In the meantime, while you're doing that, I will go to Mayor Foster.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. So I see that Councillor Jubb and Mayor Schumer are on. I will be happy to withdraw my second on that. I think it makes sense for them to move in second.
Your second stays there for now.
Okay.
Unless, okay, let me go to Mayor Schumer. Mayor Schumer?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, I will. Are you looking for a mover or a seconder at this point?
It's already been moved and seconded, but, you know,
Okay.
because I'm in a unique space today, Mr. Clerk, we have no problem with asking the mover and so I would ask the mover and the seconder to withdraw their motion. Okay, they've been withdrawn. Mayor Schumer, if you would like to move this, and Councillor Jubb, if you'd like to second it, I would be, okay, so Mayor Schumer, are you moving it?
Yes, I will.
Councillor Jubb is seconding it. The item's on the floor. Mayor Schumer?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. And I understand that this, I think we all understand this has been a rather complicated process. Firstly, I'd just like to confirm something with staff that I don't think really appears in any of the reports we've seen. And I know the ownership issue of this bridge has been outlined, and it's not maybe even clear to everybody. But just to confirm with the Commission of Works, we, as a region, did intend in the future to rehabilitate this bridge, did we not? And how much were we thinking that was going to cost the region at the time?
So yes, and we'll go to Mr. Jagannathan on the estimated cost.
Yeah, through the chair, not having done any design, we had forecasted about $7 million for rehab, I believe in 2025, but it's no longer in our forecast, obviously.
Yes, thank you very much. And I do initially, I want to thank the chair for joining us at Good Roads when we met with the Minister of Transportation. We had a good delegation, I think, and I think that helped bring this this process to this point where the province has agreed to not only pick up the tab for the bridge, but the temporary bridge as well, which is a huge issue for the township. And I think it's important to know that, you know, this process is in fact then going to save the region. Even though we're going to take this bridge back, we've been assuming this bridge for many years. It is going to save us, you know, roughly about $7 million in a future dollar. And that could be a good thing, of course. But I want to thank staff for moving this along. It might not be the ideal transaction where ownership is going to change beforehand. I sincerely hope and expect that it's not going to impact anything, and that the region is still going to come out ahead on this. But I want to thank staff for continuing to move this along. It's going to still be a long road in front of us because the temporary bridge will not even go in until, of course, later this summer. It is causing issues in the township of Brock, and no doubt will continue for some time. Even a temporary bridge won't be perfect, but it'll be a great improvement over what we have now. So thank you very much.
Councillor Jubb.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to echo what Mayor Schumer said. I'd like to take a moment to thank a few people, organizations that have assisted greatly in getting to where we are with this bridge issue. To the Commissioner of Works, Ramesh, you and your team have been absolutely phenomenal on this. I can't say enough about the dedication and professionalism that I have experienced firsthand from staff of the region. To Chair Henry, our CAO, and the senior leadership team, I would also like to thank you for your time you put in to coming to a solution for such an important issue in Brock. So thank you. I would also like to thank our MPP, Laurie Scott, the Brock Board of Trade, businesses and residents for their letters and advocacy, and of course the MTO and Treasury Board for making this a priority eventually and approving the funding. So I can't say enough to everybody involved, and I just urge my colleagues to support this important issue, open up the economy and safety for Brock residents, as this is causing some fire and paramedic and police response concerns. Thank you so much. That's all, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Mayor Foster.
Sorry, Mr. Chair, I simply cannot resist or contain myself, but, when we have dialogue with the province, look at what we can do. We can build bridges.
Councillor McCaughey.
Thank you. Through you, Chair. I just have one question. This came up at Works, and the concern at Works was that we didn't have confirmation from the province that they would reimburse. So I just want to hear from our staff if that has been confirmed.
So we'll go to our Chief Financial Officer.
So actually, that would be Commissioner Works has had dialogue and has in writing the status of the 16 million.
Yes, through the chair, we have confirmation for reimbursement of up to 16.6 million, under 17 million, for both the temporary and permanent bridge together.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Marin-Piet.
Thank you.
Mayor Foster, that was a gem. Actually, that was a very well-timed joke. And I have to tell you, the conversation that we had in terms of timing was vital. And I wouldn't have interjected or in any way asked to speak if not for the fact that Michael Jubb, Councillor Jubb, and I know that Mayor Schumer have been very consequential when it comes to advancing the discussion here at the region. I want to compliment Councillor Jubb. I had the opportunity to go out, check out the actual area, and also when it came to Works Committee, support the initiative and the letter that came forward from the province in good faith, because a lot of the discussion revolved around whether or not we believed if the province was going to fund this, whether it was actually going to be, respected. And I think as Mayor Foster indicated, it was really nice to see that our relationships with the province are fruitful in the sense that we actually have an ability to activate not only funding, but the necessary understandings of different departments. And we'll probably talk more about that in the future when we consider and address some of the work that Mayor Carter is doing to actively work to transform the way that addictions are dealt with, not just locally, but across the province and likely in the country. On that, I want to compliment Councillor Jubb and his work there, as well as Mayor Schumer and anyone else that was out. I know that you were out, Chair Henry, we were out the same day to see the concerns that residents had and share in the understanding that this is a major piece of infrastructure for that community and one that needed to be resolved with the appropriate attention and funding. So to our staff for working with the province and activating this as well, it's very well received there, and it's appreciated throughout because it is a safety issue as much as it is an economic development issue.
Thank you. Okay, was there a recorded vote called on this item? No recorded vote. So I'll call the vote now. All those in favor? In opposition? Seeing none, that carries. We'll move on. There are no notices, motions, no unfinished business announcements. Councillor Nicholson.
Yes, I have two announcements. One, very personal to me. I want to thank all the staff and councillors for their good wishes that they have sent through to my family over the last 3 weeks, where we dealt with a medical emergency. I really appreciated it, and I know it raised the spirits of my wife, that people were making fine comments. I just want to go on record as thanking everyone for that. Secondly, a bit of mea culpa for me. At the last Works Committee meeting that I attended, I made some passionate comments, which I think were taken as personal attacks on staff. I want to state for the record that they were not intended to any individual person. They were slightly strong, and I was proven wrong by what occurred in the reports subsequently. And I just want to apologize on record in public, because the comments were made in public, to our staff, that if anybody was offended by my comments, please accept my heartfelt apologies. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Carter.
Mr. Chairman, good news that we were informed that part of the demolition of the site for GO extension will be starting shortly. We're excited about that, and this once again reminds everyone that over the next 3 to 4 years, there's going to be a lot of construction, not only in our community, but also Mayor Foster's community. But that notice in regards to the demolition was really great news, and I'm looking forward to the next steps as it does. I know it's going to be an inconvenience for a lot of people on Simcoe Street, because that also means bridge replacement and work that'll be going on there, also at Ritson, also at Wilson. But this is great news in regards to seeing this come to forward. Also on Saturday night, Mr. Chairman, we had the 8th annual cake auction for Refuge, and I was fortunate enough to be asked again to be the auctioneer. 13 cakes, $45,000 was raised for 13 cakes, and it's incredible. One gentleman made a bid of $10,000, and I asked if there was another bid for $10,050, and no, it was $10,000 it sold for. So I'm really pleased about that, because they do tremendous work in our community. Also, it was noted earlier today that you mentioned Irv Harrell, that we all know, and I didn't have the opportunity to work with. I think Councillor Nicholson had an opportunity to work with him, but he was always a gentleman and carried himself accordingly, and also demanded many of us to be carry ourselves professionally, and I really appreciated his stern but good advice. We also lost an employee that retired about 4 years ago, Jerry Sikowski, and Jerry retired about 4 years ago, and we lost him just recently. So our community is thinking of his family this evening. I know that there is a memorial service for him this evening, and many of our staff will be attending. So I just take this opportunity with some good news, some sad news, but I think it's, again, as I'm very pleased about the announcement about GO. This is exciting for us, and I know that it brings you a great deal of joy in regards to it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Councillor Mulcahy.
Thank you. So in keeping with Mayor Carter's theme of demolition, I'll invite everyone out to the Demolition Derby at the Brooklyn Spring Fair this weekend. The board members have been busy putting up the fences. There's lots of great activities. And if you want to see the beginning of the reconstruction of Winchester Road, here's your opportunity. It's going to be a good weather weekend, and everybody's going to come out and have a great time. And I hope to see you all there.
Councillor Marion Patry.
Well, in keeping with the theme of festivities, Councillor Mulcahy announced the Brooklyn Spring Fair. It's an excellent adventure for residents in the Durham region, but so is Fiesta Week. Fiesta Week, if anyone needs a comparator, Caravana in Toronto is a very well-attended cultural festival. City of Oshawa turns 100 this year, but it also has a festival that is one of the oldest of its kind in the country, and it's 50 years this year. So I invite everyone out to attend Fiesta Week, to enjoy the festivities, to represent their cultures, to enjoy other cultures, cuisines, performances, and to be present and celebrating what Durham Region and the City of Oshawa are all about. Again, that is Father's Day weekend, where we have the street festival that occurs in downtown Oshawa at Memorial Park. And then the pavilions open up for their performances and their serving of cultural cuisines and their heritage. It's very, very, rewarding to see the kind of activity that happens also at the level of volunteerism. A lot of these pavilions, they have students that are in the midst of their exams in high school, and they are giving up not only their time with their family and their friends, but they're also giving up their time in their studies to be able to perform in both instances and at both levels. And I think that if you're seeing also the volunteers that are preparing and organizing Fiesta Week, that you not only thank them, but thank the students, because it is, and their families, it is a very serious undertaking. You have a couple hours worth of performances, but that performance takes months worth to be able to organize. And so congratulations again to the Folk Arts Council for representing just how important multiculturalism is in our community, how historic it is, and how celebrated I believe that we should continue to enjoy through the adventures of Fiesta Week in Oshawa. So you have Durham residents throughout, whether they're new or old, or folks that are visiting, please encourage them to check out the Fiesta Week Facebook site, and we welcome staff and counselors to attend, whether it's at lunch or in the evening. I know that I've been out with Mr. Hunt, and we've had a great time together, and I hope that others will do the same.
Thank you. Councillor Chapman?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm going to talk about anniversaries. This year, of course, there's a lot of 80th anniversaries. In fact, on Monday this past week, it was the 80th anniversary of the Ontario Regiment liberating the town of Aquino, Italy. Unfortunately, the battle that morning, we lost 11 tanks and 8 soldiers were killed, all from Oshawa at that time. But pushing on through Italy, on the 5th of June, next week, we were part of the liberation of Rome. And then the war turned to Normandy. Then the very next day, it's the 80th anniversary of D-Day, of course, and there's not a lot of D-Day veterans left, but if you see one of them, be sure to thank them for all that they did. And next Saturday at the Tank Museum, which is on the south field of the Oshawa Executive Airport, there'll be a big demonstration commemorating the Battle of Normandy, and all are welcome to attend. The museum opens at 10 a.m. They have tank rides for those that want to purchase one, and the show starts at 1 o'clock. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Councillor Wu.
Yeah, thank you, Chair Henry. And I just want to mention this past weekend, but it'll roll out to all the municipalities, the compost giveaway that we had on Saturday. And it was tremendous, tremendous turnout. Shows you, and we just talked earlier about the enhanced green bin program and some of those materials that go into being composted and recycled. And the lineup of traffic was just up, if you know Clarington, the great municipality of Clarington, going up 42 and along number 2 highway, just lined up. In fact, when they did close, they were still coming in. But I wanted to thank our Commissioner of Planning and Deputy CAO or Acting CAO, Brian Bridgman, for being there, and a member of the Durham Environmental and Climate Advisory Committee. They were handing out pollinator seeds, which they packaged and labeled. So somewhere along the lines, I think each member of council will get a packet. And most importantly, too, we were requesting that, and I would imagine each municipality, that people bring items, non-perishable food items for the food bank. So great event, and it just shows you where some of our, if you want to call it, kitchen waste does go to. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Gerard.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First, congratulations to Mayor Foster for carrying on there without me guiding him all day. So congratulations to him. Thank you to Councillor Chapman. D-Day's near and dear to my heart, so I appreciate you bringing that up and that celebration that's happening coming up related to the D-Day efforts. And finally, I'd just like to bring up that the Uxbridge Prayer Breakfast was held last Wednesday. We're fortunate that we get to hear Mr. Dan Carter speak on a regular basis, but not everybody has that opportunity. Dan came to Uxbridge and was an eloquent and passionate speaker at the prayer breakfast, had a profound effect on the 100 and some people that were in the room. So I just wanted to thank Mayor Carter for his efforts in coming to Uxbridge and sharing his view and his perspective. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Councillor Kerr.
Thank you, Chair. This weekend is the Pickering Dragon Boat Club's annual Dragon Boat Regatta and Festival. It's on Frenchman's Bay. You can witness it quite extensively over the course of the races from the shore. If you've never seen dragon boat racing, it's pretty exciting. Everything from 200 meters to 500 meters to a 2K race, which is akin to the chariot race in Ben Hur. I would encourage you to go out and attend. Unfortunately, I now have a shoulder injury, which will likely force me to retire from the sport, but it doesn't mean to say I can't be an ambassador for the sport. It's a terrific sport, men and women, breast cancer survivors, youth, all age groups. It's tremendous to watch. That's this weekend on Frenchman's Bay. Thank you.
Thank you. Members of council, June is a busy month. We will be proclaiming Seniors Month, Filipino Heritage Month, National Indigenous History Month, Pride Month, for the first time, Italian Heritage Month, and Cycle Independent Kinesi Like 5, which is often referred to as CKDLS 5 awareness. It's also National Public Service Week, June 9th to the 15th, Boys and Girls of Durham Club Day, June 7th, World Elder Abuse Day is June 15th, and National Indigenous People Day, which is the 21st. Members of council will move on. Business completed, just bylaws, Mr. Clerk. Mayor Ash.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It's moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Barton that bylaws number 2024-028 to 2024-029 inclusive be passed.
On bylaws. Call the vote. All those in favor? In opposition? That carries. Confirmation bylaw.
It's moved by myself, Mr. Chair, seconded by Councillor Barton, that bylaw 2024-030 being a bylaw confirm the proceedings of the Council of the Regional Municipality of Durham at their meeting held on the 29th day of May 2024 be passed.
Okay, on the confirming bylaw, we'll call the vote. All those in favor? In opposition? Seeing none, business of the day complete. Look for a mover for adjournment. Moved by Councillor Yamada, seconded by Councillor Wu. All those in favor of adjournment? In opposition? Seeing none, thank you and enjoy the rest of your day.